Hello there, and welcome to the 8th episode of English Podcast with Ashish Khanna. In each episode, we'll give a short talk on a theme, and during the talk, I'll explore a few interesting words and phrases for you. I thought we'd spend today talking about COVID-19 in the news, and also use this topic as a chance to explore some news-related words and phrases. Also, after episode 7 of series 1, thanking our essential workers, one of our listeners wrote in to recommend journalists as another category of essential workers. So thank you, journalists. We appreciate all those of you who are out there pursuing truth on our behalf. Now, firstly, I'd like to give you a few keywords and phrases to do with news and journalism that you need to listen out for during the talk. If you pause now and go get a pen and paper to make them a note of them, I'll wait. Okay, write down the following words and phrases and then listen and tick when you hear them. News reports, news coverage, news headlines, mass media, breaking news, analysis, interviews, editorials, feature stories, human interest, opinion pieces, newspaper, news broadcast. And here is an extra challenge. One of those phrases is not in the talk. So listen carefully, and at the end I'll tell you which one it is. I don't know how you experienced the COVID-19 pandemic as an item in the news, but I suspect for many of you it was something like this. At first we watched sympathetically as it began in Wuhan. News reports told us of a terrible tragedy that was happening over there, spreading slowly to nearby countries like Hong Kong and Korea, and the poor people trapped on cruise ships like the Diamond Princesses. Slowly, the world realized that it would go from something specific to concentrated populations in large cities in Asia to something everywhere. Italy, Iran entered the battle, followed by more European countries like Australia, the Middle East, and South America, and eventually the United States. News coverage of the pandemic has reflected this changing perspective. Originally, much of the news focused on the numbers, and now cases, the number of deaths, the number of tests it was possible to do, and very occasionally, good news about the number of people who were recovering quickly with limited symptoms. Then the news headlines switched to the gradual shutdown of society. We were informed daily which countries were closing their borders. Then came the increasing domestic restrictions, people being asked or forced to stay at home. Mass media informed us how often people could go out for food and exercise, and for how long. Some people panicked, and supermarket shelves quickly became empty of essentials until we were told that there was plenty for everyone. Facts became repetitive and boring, so journalists switched to analysis. Instead of wanting to understand what was happening, we wanted to know why and how. Interviews with experts explored various questions like, why was the death rate in Italy so high? Why were more men than women affected in China? Editorials and opinion pieces applauded leaders who seemed to be doing things right and compared them to those who were doing it wrong. Then there were the feature stories that celebrated human interest heroes like Captain Tom Moore, a 100-year-old gentleman who started walking around his garden to raise money for the British National Health Service. He aimed to raise €1,000 before his 100th birthday and ended up raising 29 million. Living through an international crisis is hard, and one of the difficult things is the amount of information you feel obliged to read, watch and understand. In the old days, most people read one newspaper and watched maybe one evening news broadcast. Now our supply of news is vast on every platform. Information is useful and necessary, but sometimes it can get too much. Remember that it's okay to switch off now and again and give yourself a break from the headlines. Okay, everyone, that's it for today. I hope you managed to catch all the words and phrases and which one was missing. That's right, it was breaking news. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a great day.